Coming up on SUTV, we'll tell you about the SUUSA's election results.
And we'll let you know about the Polynesian Club Showcase. Stay tuned.
Welcome to SUTV News. I'm Matthew House.
And I'm Jenna Chapman. It is Founders Week at SUU. Founders Week is an annual celebration of SUU's founding events. Events start today with a silent auction where SUU alumni and Oakland Raiders defensive end James Cowser will speak on Wednesday. Students, faculty, and community members will have the opportunity to name 2 trees on campus. The 2 elm trees on 300 West were planted in 1898, and people can submit name nominations at locations all around campus during lunch on the main.
The first event of Founders Week is the Howard R. Driggs Memorial Lecture. Today at 11:30, Dr. Jennifer Keene spoke about American experiences during World War I in the Hunter Conference Center. Keene is a specialist in American military experience during World War I. She is also a professor of history and chair of the history department at Chapman University. She is the current president of the Society of Military History. In addition to her lecture, Keene brought historical artifacts including burnt books.
This is a complicated question.
That says me on it.
Yeah, this is for sure you.
Ellen DeGeneres, Cheerios, and Chartwells are creating 1 million acts of good here at SUU. 2 weeks ago, students prepared 300 boxes of non-perishable food with positive messages. Heather Garcia, the first-year experience coordinator, said the student involvement was overwhelming. All of the boxes were completed in only 1 hour. The boxes are going to be delivered to the Hope Pantry, the Women's Crisis Center, and the Iron County Karen Chair.
SUU's Jumpstart program is continuing their semester trips with a spring break trip to Los Angeles.
This past 6th of March, 40 Southern Utah University students, members of the Jumpstart program, went on a trip to California. They visited different spots related with the film industry. Spencer Norman gave us more details.
So on the trip, we're going to California, but it's cool because our Jumpstart class, we're stage and screen, and so we've been watching a lot of movies, talking a lot about the movies, and what's really cool is we planned a trip to go to Universal Studios, and we're so focused on the video and the film aspect of all these movies and stuff that it's a perfect place to kind of not end the year, but closer to the end of the year. To take a trip to Universal Studios, and we got to do the film tour yesterday at Universal Studios, and we got to tour these actual sets and stages of where they shoot some Universal films.
This has been Guillermo Garcia for KSUU TV.
The newest members of SUUSA are preparing to be sworn in. SUUSA election results were announced before spring break in the living room, and the outcome was unsurprising. All the candidates ran unopposed, leading to a clean ballot sweep by the Peak Party. The new SUUSA Executive Council will be led by Demia Lamar, SUUSA's first African-American female president. Other EC members include John Baker as Vice President of Clubs for the 2nd year in a row, Johnny Zilgett as Vice President of Academics, and Caleb Paulson as Vice President of Finance. The complete election results are posted outside the SUUSA offices in the Student Center.
SUU's Polynesian Club wrapped up their annual showcase. Our reporter Bailey Dyer has more with their performance.
Southern Utah University's Polynesian Club hosted their annual showcase last weekend. The show's theme, Wayfinding, was chosen to honor their ancestors who traversed millions of miles of open ocean. They pay tribute to and acknowledge their sacrifices and efforts to shape a world where their descendants prosper.
Allows each of us the opportunity to take each of us back to our own roots and to really showcase what our cultures are all about. And despite the different cultures, I think the showcase allows everyone, maybe outside looking in, to be able to see that there's unity in all of it.
The show featured performances from Hawaii, New Zealand, Tonga, Tahiti, and Samoa. The songs and dances highlighted distinct cultural traditions from each island, with club members having backgrounds from across the Pacific. The exciting music and dance enticed the crowd and several audience members to join in the festivities on and off stage. The Polynesian Club will continue to embrace their culture while educating and helping people from different backgrounds to understand their culture and history.
I mean, each island and each culture is very similar, has its origin and roots, but we're all pretty similar in a way, which makes it unique and special. And I think it'll be a fun time.
For SUTV News, this is Bailey Dyer.
Coming up after the break, we'll talk about SUU's Pride Week.
And later we'll fill you in on the Texas bombings. Don't go away.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Utah's legislative session is getting a lot of national news attention, but not because of the bills being passed. Last week, the House of Representatives released a video parodying the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song, explaining how a bill becomes a law. The video has over 35,000 views on YouTube and 264 retweets on Twitter. The video has aired on CNN as well as several late-night shows. Last night, Jimmy Fallon featured the video on his show, saying, "Just when you thought Utah couldn't get any whiter." Other Utah organizations have gotten in on the joke, including the Salt Lake Health Department, which tweeted BRB, labeling this as a public health hazard.
The 2018 Utah legislative session is in the books. SU came away from the session with $2.1 million for ongoing funding. That money is expected to help fund growth, reduce barriers to completion, and pay for workforce alignment. SU did not secure funding for the Child Care Center on campus, but it was moved up on the list of budget priorities for the coming year. In addition, the Board of Regents is proposing a 1.5% tuition increase for all Utah schools. This will be the 6th year in a row that SU is not proposing an institutional tuition increase on top of the Board of Regents increase.
SU's Center for Diversity and Inclusion is taking on the national issue of LGBTQ rights by celebrating Pride this week on campus. The SUU Pride Club is sponsoring several events, starting with an LGBTQ resource fair on Monday. Today, the club hosted a panel on LGBTQ issues and allyship. The panel discussed their experiences in the Cedar City community and ways that people could be better allies. Events continue throughout the week, ending with a drag brunch on Thursday. Now, our reporter Colton Gordon interviews a member of SUU Pride Club Executive Council, Tessa Brunemeyer, about Pride Week and LGBTQ issues on campus.
Thanks, guys. I'm joined now by Tessa Brunemeyer, representing the Pride Club here. EC member Tessa, tell us a little bit about Pride Week.
Yeah, so Pride Week, we're sponsored by the CDI, the Center for Diversity and Inclusion, and Pride and Equality Club. And it's basically just a way to celebrate the LGBTQ community and raise some awareness for specific LGBTQ issues and have some fun.
And what are you guys planning to accomplish just throughout this week?
I think the biggest goal is just raising awareness,
Sure.
making sure that LGBTQ students feel like they have a place on campus, and then giving a chance for allies to come and engage with the community and have a good time as well.
Why do you think it's so important for people not in the community to be involved with Pride Week and Pride Club in general?
Yeah, I think it's really important to have outspoken allies and involved allies in a place that's not predominantly LGBTQ like most places. It's really good to have the dominant community supporting you, and so it's really uplifting for members of the community to feel like they have a place and to feel like folks that aren't members of the LGBTQ community are still supporting them on campus.
Yeah. Talking to you before, I know you've been involved with the club a little bit throughout your years. What personally motivated you to be involved and then become an advocate?
Yeah, so I think it's really important to not expect people of marginalized groups to be their own advocates.
Sure.
If they want to be, that's awesome, but they shouldn't be obligated to do so. So coming from a place of privilege of being a straight white woman, I think it's really important to use my voice and my platform to advocate for other people.
And then aside from Pride Week, I know you aren't just a one-week club. What are you doing else year-round?
Yeah, so we're mostly a community group. So we're here to raise community and to make friendships. So we have weekly meetings on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. in the Center for Diversity and Inclusion. And then we're kind of just here as a support system. So if students need someone to talk to or resources of where to go, we are there to provide that.
Are you guys holding special events this week? How can people get involved during Pride Week?
This week we have had events the past 2 days that have gone really well.
Sure.
And then tomorrow we are filming a movie called Kiki, which is an informative documentary about drag and ball culture. And then on Thursday we are having our first annual drag brunch. So it's a drag competition of amateur students, and then we are hosting a guest professional drag queen.
Oh, that's awesome. Make sure you guys get out and become involved this week. Thanks so much for joining us, Tessa.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Back to you guys at the desk.
AT&T has started a campaign called It Can Wait for making teenagers conscious of the risk of using the phone while driving.
Are we setting weather right now?
Accident after accident until like finally he actually crashes into somebody because he won't put down the phone.
While driving through the use of different simulators.
2 Maryland high school students are in the hospital today after a shooting this morning. At 7:55 a.m. this morning, a 17-year-old student from Great Mills High School opened fire, injuring 2 other students. Blaine Gaskell, the school research officer, fired back at the shooter, and the two briefly exchanged fire. The shooter was pronounced dead on the scene, but it is unknown if Gaskell hit him. The female victim is in critical condition, and the male victim is in stable condition. The school was locked down, and the students were escorted to a reunification center at a nearby high school.
You know, this is what we train for, this is what we prepare for, and this is what we pray that we never have to do.
Police in Texas are on the hunt for a serial bomber. Today, the 5th bomb in a series of anonymous attacks blew up at a FedEx distribution center near San Antonio. Police believe the bombings are based on the similar construction of the 5 bombs. The 4 previous explosions killed 2 people and injured 4 others. 3 of these bombs were sent to homes and parcels, and one was detonated by a tripwire on a public street. Investigators are searching for the motive of these attacks and have offered a $115,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of the culprit.
Students from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School have been back in class for 2 weeks. The United States Congress also returned to session. Both the school and Congress are feeling the effects of the February 14th massacre that killed 17 people. Since the shooting, survivors have taken to the streets and social media calling for stronger gun legislation. President Donald Trump has lobbied for a few ideas, including raising the age for buying assault weapons and incentivizing teachers for being armed at school. In the wake of the shooting, gun rights advocates have criticized law enforcement and for failing to act on multiple reports that the shooter posed a threat due to his mental instability.
Russian President Vladimir Putin will serve for another 6 years. Putin won re-election on Sunday with 76% of the vote, though there were 8 candidates in the race. Putin's victory was predicted weeks in advance, mainly because of the Kremlin's oppression of opposition parties in the months before the election. Putin has held power in Russia either as president or prime minister for the last 19 years. According to Russian law, this would be Putin's last term and he will have to step down in 2024.
I'll let you know what to expect in the week's forecast. Don't go away.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile. That single ember can ignite and destroy your home or even your community. You can't control where that ember will land, only what happens when it does. Get Fire Adapted now at fireadapted.org.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Hello, my name's Fernando Lopez, and I'm here with your weather report. So currently right now the weather is about 51 degrees with no precipitation, low humidity. Here's a look around our great state. Low 50s towards the top, as you can see.
Yeah, there's no script.
And you can see it's pretty hot down there. All right. For today, your high was about 52, your low about 34 degrees. Sunrise, sunset, new time since the daylight savings kind of changed, kind of threw us off. And here's your weekly weather. We got Wednesday, partly cloudy, high of 57, low of 45. Thursday, chance of some rain. We got about the same weather though, 57 for your high. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, not looking too bad, so should be a pretty good weekend. Might be fun to go out, maybe go to the park, hang out with some friends, you know. Just enjoy the weekend, enjoy this great weather. Hey Colton, what's next for sports, man?
Coming up on SUTV Sports, we've got the SUU men's basketball making a run in the Big Sky tournament, a shakeup for women's basketball, and the final gymnastics meet of the season. Stay tuned.
On average, I spend 8 hours a week on the road. It's important to me to make the right choices when I drive. and she's the reason why I support MAD.
Hello, I'm Colton Warren, and welcome to SUTV Sports. The Thunderbirds men's basketball team took March Madness to a new level in the Big Sky Conference tournament in Reno, Nevada. The team entered the tournament with little expectations, being the 10th seed. To start the tournament, the T-Birds played the Idaho State Bengals, a team they had beaten once throughout the regular season. The Thunderbirds were able to upset the 7th-seeded Bengals 76-68 behind the play of Brandon Better, who finished the game with 18 points and 13 steals off the bench. Junior forward Dwayne Morgan finished the game with the double-double, recording 11 points and 10 rebounds. Jaden Cohey also recorded 15 points and 6 rebounds for the T-Birds. The team took on another team from Idaho the next day, this time being the Big Sky's newest addition, the Idaho Vandals. SUU was unable to beat the Vandals during the regular season, but was competitive in both games, losing both games by an average of just 3 points. The Vandals would have a tough time containing Better and Cohey this time around, as the duo combined for 47 of the total Thunderbird 92 points. Better went 4 of 5 from deep, while Cohey played the entire game, going 4 of 7 from range. Jamal Aites recorded a big 17-point, 9-rebound game as Dwayne Morgan was fighting off foul trouble. The T-Birds were able to get revenge on the Vandals, stealing the game 92-78 to advance to the first Big Sky Conference semifinal in T-Bird history. The team would face the Eastern Washington Eagles in the semifinal round. The Eagles lost an overtime game to SUU in the regular season in Cedar City, but were able to get revenge in the semifinal game, winning 87-70. Jaden Cohey and Dwayne Morgan led the T-Birds in scoring with 15 apiece. Freshman Dre Marin also scored 13 points after going 3 for 3 from behind the arc. Brandon Better was also named to the Big Sky All-Tournament team after averaging 17 points, 2 steals during the 3-game stretch coming off the bench. SUU will return all but 3 players next year and have the additions of Harrison Butler, Josh Cornish to help the team make a run at the Big Sky Conference Championship. SUU Gymnastics wrapped up the regular season in Logan to face off against the Utah State Aggies. The T-Birds were unable to finish the season off with a win, losing 195.75 to 196.5. SUU scored 48.9 as a team on the bars, led by Becky Rosa at 9.875 and Autumn Jorgensen at 9.85. Jorgensen would then lead the T-Birds on the vault, scoring a 9.8. The T-Birds were able to break the 49-point mark for the first time in over a month when they moved over to the beam. Mary Packham scored a 9.85, while Jorgensen added a 9.825. The gymnastics team will now shift their focus to the Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference Championship meet hosted by SUU in the America's First Event Center on March 24th. And with SUU hosting the MRGC Championships, let's take a look at one of the seniors on the team, Karen Gonzalez. Our reporter Charlotte Thalhammer has the story for you.
Karen Gonzalez is finishing up her 4th season as a flipping T-Bird. Gonzalez started gymnastics when she was 7 years old. She continued into college even though there were times she considered quitting.
Many times. Mostly like high school. I feel like high school is way
Throughout all her years in gymnastics, Gonzalez was lucky enough to only have one major injury.
In 8th grade, I broke my arm, like in half pretty much. I'd had surgery.
Gonzalez started her freshman year spring of 2015. She was offered to walk on the team by head coach Scotty Bauman. Initially, she was skeptical about SUU, but her visit changed her mind.
I came to a meet that night, and it was Boise, and SUU won, and it was super awesome. So I was like, this is really fun. I'm gonna come here.
Her first time competing with SUU, she was on the lineup for every event.
At that point, I guess I wasn't like super confident in myself. I look back, I'm like, I was in the spot for a reason, and it's because my coaches thought I could do that.
SU Gymnastics has had 7 meets this year, and the season is not over yet.
So before every home meet, the gymnasts come here to the America First Event Center to visualize their routines and to warm up. But Karen Gonzalez says there's another thing she also likes to do before every home meet.
I like to just chill, have a dance party in my room.
Gonzalez says her best event is beam. Although she went through a phase of struggling with it, it is now her favorite.
I feel confident on beam.
During competition, nothing can bring Gonzalez out of her focus. Not even the crowd, the lights, or the opposing team.
You kind of honestly forget about all that, and you're just like zoned in.
Gonzalez's proudest moment in her college experience was getting a 9.95 on beam this season.
And just that feeling after you stick the landing and you just nail the routines.
Her hard work has paid off. Saturday, March 24th, she will be competing in the Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference Championship here at SUU.
With SUTV News, I'm Charlotte Thalhammer.
One of our newest flippin' T-Birds this year is transfer student Madison Loomis. Our reporter Amy Andre brings us the story.
When Madison Loomis decided to walk on to the SUU gymnastics team, she wasn't sure what to expect.
Okay.
Made the right decision. I'm happy I experienced it, but it's definitely in the past.
Loomis transferred from San Jose State because she felt their gymnastics program wasn't right for her, and she had lost her passion for the sport.
My experience at San Jose wasn't positive in the gym and athletic atmosphere.
Loomis has been doing gymnastics since she was 5, and before committing to San Jose, she visited SUU and worked with gymnastics coach Scotty Bauman.
And I came to this camp and I worked with Scotty, and I fell in love with him as a coach and as a person.
At first, San Jose's offer was too good to turn down. They offered her a full-ride scholarship, and she decided to follow the money. After 1 year, she changed her mind.
I realized at the end of the day that money doesn't buy happiness.
Southern Utah is definitely a culture shock for the California native, but she's learned to love small-town living. The quiet lifestyle in Cedar is a nice contrast to her busy life as a full-time student and athlete.
Like, I was in Northern California, Silicon Valley, but I kind of like the mellow because when you're in college and you're in athletics on top of it, it's already hectic enough.
Now with almost 1 full season at SUU behind her, Loomis is enjoying her sport again.
That's really important to me, is when you can just be yourself and have fun, because it makes the job not a job. It's just like a passion. So then
Maddie Loomis will be competing in her first conference championship with SUU here at the American First Event Center Saturday, March 24th at 6 p.m. This is Amy Andre with SUTV News.
That's all I've got for you today. Join us this Thursday for Pardon Our Take, where we'll give you a breakdown of the NCAA tournament.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Matthew House.
I'm Colton Warren.
I'm Fernando Lopez.
And I'm Jenna Chapman. Make sure to tune in on Thursday for the sports show Pardon Our Take.